Hello everybody and welcome to a new, I think it's new, it's live at least, to another episode of Banter Blitz with me, Jan Gustafsson. As you can see, I've put in a lot of work into my opening monologue and I'm not at all struggling with saying even the most basic things. So, you guys know, Jesus, focus. You guys know the rules. Challenge me to a game of 3 minutes or 5 minutes chess if you are a Chess24 premium member. If not, you will be relentlessly bullied by me and the community. So go premium so that you can partake in this video. And partake in this video. Great selling job. Now my phone is ringing. What else could be happening? Do we restart this? Nah, let's keep going. Good to be back. So I've been... This might not be my finest intro. It's not exactly the highest art of improv. I've been following the news. Donald Trump, of course, last night, no, I saw it last night, I think it's been a while ago, pointed out that the US lacks grand chess masters. They don't have any of those. Not technically true, but what I found more shocking was that Trump seemed to imply that he believes chess masters are smart and good at negotiating, which from personal experience I can't really confirm. Then, in Germany, they caught a potential suicide bomber. Is that the word? Terrorist that wanted to blow himself up with a suicide vest. And he committed suicide in jail last night after they caught him, because the jail people thought the suicide bomber wasn't suicidal. So it's all very confusing, this new stuff. And before I make even both of my viewers switch off the show, let's play some chess. Also, stop calling me people on the phone. I think they wait. Like, when is Jan doing his live show? And then they start calling relentlessly. Let's play somebody. Because you know my life is sad. I don't get a single phone call like all day. But then I'm on air for 1 minute. Boom. Now we come to another part of the show where I choose an opponent. What about Mikalbitzka? Sorry for the mispronunciation. Mikalbitzka from the Czech Republic? Still not very good at flags, but yeah, that is the Czech Republic, and he plays 1c4. I strongly dislike not only the move 1c4, but also people that play the move 1c4. It feels like I want to be a d4 player, but I don't really want to look at any theory, so I'll play c4 followed by b3. I don't approve, and I'm aware that all of the world top has converted to that line of thinking. For them it's not so much I don't want to look at any theory, but more I know all the theory and it's kind of equal in all these main lines, so let's try to get something a little fresher. However, Mikalbitzka has added his own spin by going to b3, not the most common of lines. And if in doubt, grab space in the center. In general, I believe that even against the main line c4, e5, g3, this knight f6 followed by d5 is a very logical way to play. Here, knight takes d5, I'm not a big fan of. I'm aware that we should normally not develop our queen too early in the game, but in this case it's not so easy to challenge this queen. He would probably have to go e3, knight e2, knight c3. And it's quite powerful here. If you follow it up with d3, I believe the term is add insult to injury, or maybe you add injury to insult, because I'm sure I've insulted him already. But Michal resigns before I can get in bishop b4 check and some more insults, because this would be quite painful, winning the queen. So not a great start for Mikalbitzka. And let's keep rolling. Find another opponente. I have a feeling I should do something while I'm clicking through this list, or maybe just click more randomly. instead of all this choosing process, I'm saying I'm choosing randomly, so maybe just click randomly without looking. I clicked on somebody, it's Goran.Strandberg. With this principle, I at the very least have to make sure they're premium. So I have to look for this little flag. Here it says premium user, we good. D4, knight f6, knight f3. Let's play g6. c4, bishop g7. What else has happened in the world? There have been a couple chess tournaments. Isle of Man, won by Mr. Elyanov and Mr. Caruana. Featured all of Caruana, Nakamura and So. All these US top players play in an open on the Isle of Man, very interestingly. And Mr. Elyanov, I don't know, he struggled in Norway chess, but he's been doing tremendously well in some other events. It's like he can't really make up his mind. If he's, no, that's nonsense, of course. But it's like he's on the verge of being a top player, a regular in these close tournaments, but not quite there. But what a string for him after the Olympiad, where Ukraine didn't win the gold, but outperformed expectations and were narrowly, how do we finish that sentence? Narrowly missed out on the gold? Whatever. Good month for Pavel Elyanov. I believe that's what I'm trying to say. What else was there? I didn't follow Millionaire Chess all that much. Sounded like they had some problems. I think there was no live transmission. But of course, shout out to Mr. Svirch. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Apologies for violating the last name. And apologies to Goran Strandberg, because I've pretended like I wasn't paying attention. But I've been looking to get this. Is that a knight fork? This double attack in for a while. Only chance he has is to play bishop takes f5 now. Knight c2, bishop c2. But that's only two pieces for a queen. So probably not enough. And therefore Goran Strandberg decides to call it a day. Let's play somebody else. Who is this? Ooh, strong dude. Iikov from Norway. 2557. Says hi. Hi, Mikalbitzka. I will not be lured into typing. It's a 3-minute game. That's what I dislike about all you strong dudes. You always want a challenge just for 3-minute games. And in fairness, I do give you that option. But it's much harder to explain the game in a 3-minute game than in a 5-minute game doing Banter Blitz. I'm following my reflexes, I'm guessing, playing boring stuff here with g3, bishop g2. Iikov is trying to lure me into a false sense of security by saying good luck, have fun. Chess has nothing to do with either of these things. It's not luck-based and it's certainly not fun-based. The only part that is kind of fun is winning. Everything else is just agony. This is a line that I think is believed to be bad, this pawn sacrifice with d6. But the one thing bad lines have going for them is I never study them, because they're bad. Why would you look at them? Well, Iikov seems like this is his bread and butter. Bread and butter? His bad bread? I don't know. He's blitzing out moves. So far I'm a pawn up. I'm guessing he's going to go d5 or some complicated stuff to make use of this current tension here. And I have a feeling b3 is actually wrong. I think queen d3 probably was a wiser choice, because now d5 bothers me a little. So I'm going to have to think. Ugh. Tough day at the office already. He goes knight e4. Another move I missed. Whoa. Am I going to get crushed so early in the morning? Oh boy. Little naive. Yep, I'm going to have to do some damage control and give the exchange here and go bishop g5, which of course was not the plan at all. And he has the move f5. Well, f5, knight d6. My thinking is if I can at least get the e7 pawn, maybe the situation is not yet hopeless. But clearly none of this was planned, and b3 is just a bad move. I have a feeling a queen d3 looks like the right choice. What to do? We're here. I do have 2 pawns for the exchange, so on materially speaking, things aren't too bad. But I have to be a little careful. Then again, I haven't been careful all game, so why start now? Queen c6. I guess I could take rook d8, c5. Nothing too bad is happening, right? c5, f5. Could also go knight d6, but that looks weird. Let's take and see what happens. So I'm thinking about rook d8, c5, then f5. I was a bit curious if I can do something weird like b4 then. F takes e4, queen b3 check. But I am not all that certain. We'll find out, hopefully. So far, so good. So my point was f5. If I go b4, f takes e4, queen b3 check, then next move I can pick up this bishop with check. The problem is that does not end the game by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought it was a decent bit of calculating, especially considering the standard of play I had shown earlier in this game. Let's go check, then think. Time-honored wisdom of giving check, then think. Can I checkmate him? He offers a draw. Are you insane, sir? Bishop f8 check would have won material, but I don't think he had a way to stop this, so did not see a particular reason to go for that yet. This should be made in not a lot of moves, but I know the good old Russian saying. I think it's Russian. Not sure if it's Russian. If you're an idiot, you're an idiot. I think that's the saying I've been looking for. Completely not my plan. Boy. Still winning, I believe, but I'm messing around. Interesting try. Not quite sure what we are hoping for now, but one should never give up hope. He blocked me. Then I'm gonna have to give some checks. H3, forced resignation. Very good game by Iikov, where I messed up outside the opening. Not what I normally do. b3 is just, nonsense. Queen d3. I have a feeling this is theory too. And then you are supposed to be better and somehow consolidate queen d3, knight d7. Something like this does ring a bell, but b3 doesn't make sense, weakening this diagonal, which can be seen with human eyes. d5 was another good move, but knight e4 looked strong as well. Couldn't think of anything better than doing this. I'm feeling after bishop e5, bishop e7, I'm probably okay. Not sure if black had a better move here, but it looks very shady what I've done, so I wouldn't be surprised. f5, whatever. Anyway, moving on. Let's play Blitz Enemy. Blitz Enemy. Blitz Enemy. e4? That's such a crazy move. Pawn is unprotected. And makes me feel very uneasy. Knight f3, knight c6. I have a feeling I should develop this bishop. Not a surprise nowadays. Blitz Enemy is not at all taken aback by me going bishop b5. That's more or less the main line. I believe it has replaced d4, at least in top level play, as the most popular option here. d6, I'm surprised by this. Rook e1, bishop f1 is pretty standard stuff. Here d5, I think I had a game myself with d5, d3 from the black side where I didn't play very well. g6 is also a move I've come across. But d6 does look surprising, and I will do, or what I consider one of the ideas of playing this bishop b5 stuff. You don't want the typical open Sicilian structure with d4, cd, knight d4, but you want to occupy the center by going c3, followed by d4. And often you get some advantageous version of, I don't know, I was going to say something, but now I can't think of it. And Blitz enemy plays a move that is quite consistent. He goes e5, does d4. Sometimes you have to watch out for stuff like takes, bishop g4. And I think I'll watch out for it and play quietly. Go h3, g6, and now d4. A lot of movement on my mobile telephone. Blitz enemy actually has managed to make some sense out of his opening play, which I was critical of. Now after bishop g7 we get some sense out of his opening play. I'm also critical of my English, or I should be. Now we have this typical structure where you could argue the pawn on d6 is a little weaker than my e4 pawn, but things aren't so bad, and black is very often very close to equality here. Yeah, you can try things like d5 to get rid of that weakness here. d5, I have to calculate a little bit. ed, knight d5, knight c6, bc, bishop d4. Nothing special. Knight c6, bc, then bishop d4 looks a tad more challenging. Or bishop c5. Not sure which one. Both look interesting. Maybe this. Bishop e6. Yeah, not getting much. Nah, I'll go here. In general, the structure is a little more pleasant for white. Some potential weaknesses on the dark squares, the c6, a6 pawn. Therefore, it felt like it made sense to eliminate the dark squared bishops and take it from there. No need to cover b2 yet. Rook b2, I have many nasty things I can do to him. Knight d5, probably the nastiest. So I shall develop. If he goes bishop e6, I'm gonna give this pawn a long hard look. Actually, I'll just take it instantly, so it's not that long a look. But pawn is a pawn. He's gonna try to get some counterplay with queen a5, bishop somewhere back, and something like rook b4. But it feels like, oh no, he goes queen b6, which I of course missed. Oh boy, why do I miss everything? They used to call me, nah, I'm looking for a miss undercover joke, but it's just not there. Yeah, could have seen that coming on a good day. Okay, winding over, how do I keep my advantage? Queen f6, queen a6, queen e7, rook b2. Now that just peters out. There was another dumb decision by yours truly. My advantage is very, very limited now. In order not to say non-existent, because it's really not there. This is just equal. Oh boy. I said oh boy a lot so far. I'm gonna have to rely on my main weapon, the art of endgame technique, to extract the full point from this very drawish situation. At least I could say I have this passed a pawn, which if he makes it to a6 could be a bit of an asset, but Mr. Blitz enemy is aware of that looming danger, and he goes rook a8, another good move, making it harder and harder to dream of victory. Yeah, it's just equal, unfortunately. Knight d5, which I'm sure he's gonna play. Ay. We're very close to steaming, so early in the show. This was a position that normally I should win, frankly. But bishop a6, I'm overdoing the pawn grabbery a little bit sometimes. I don't think I do that in real life, but this Banter Blitz, nah, that's a lie, I do that in real life. This Banter Blitz persona I've created, this pawn grabber extraordinaire, he's certainly overdoing it. And Blitz enemy is also playing well, so you gotta give credit where credit is due, sometimes even where it's not due. But in this case, he is playing extremely well. He offers me a draw, which I am not interested in, therefore I shall decline it. But yeah, so far, can't criticize him, and I gave him this one chance with bishop takes a6, which he rightly seized. And probably slightly worse, because his king is closer to the action than mine. Such is life. I am slightly worse. I'm gonna lose this pawn. Ay. I hope this works. I'm on the eve of disaster here. That's so far hanging in there. Still, of course, not better at all. Stop offering draws, Blitz enemy. Is there any plan available to me? I don't really see one. Well, this at least gives me a square. That's still no plan. I have a plan now. Not a good plan, of course, but a plan. Looks like Blitz enemy also has a plan. That is a pity. We can't both have plans. Oh. I'm such a terrible player. Sometimes I get annoyed at how bad I am. King g3 was not the best choice, but of course it's still a draw, unfortunately. Yeah, good game. Not much I can claim after. Where was it? Ah, here. Yeah, I played this absolutely ridiculous move. Bishop takes a6, and after that, yeah, I just missed queen b6 when he gets the b2 pawn. It is pretty equal. If I play some sensible move, whatever, b3, knight a4, I have a nice position, but such is life. Facepalm chess, big expert on me, says, Jan will be steaming for the rest of the day. Because yeah, one draw will make me steam. Actually, it does, especially if they offer me a draw like 5 times. That annoys me. But not to take away from Blitz enemy's achievement. Played another very good game. Let's play somebody else. But who? No M. No M for you. What about Hope Chess? From the Netherlands, apparently. I'll give e4 another shot, even though I'm not very good at e4ing. Is that true? I feel I'm getting better at e4ing, actually. Let's play... Now, let's play the Ruy Lopez. a6. I like bishops too much to become a bishop takes c6 player. d6, what is this? Some Steinitz accelerated? Is that what it's called? Not big on theory here, but if you do get to occupy the center early on in the game, how bad can the position be? Knight f6, is that what they do? I have a feeling if I castle that he should not be in time to go. Knight takes e4, therefore, how bad can castles be? If he goes, let's say, g6, rook e1, white should be a little better. I'd like to do bad things to him on f7, but it doesn't look like it's fully there. Maybe bishop c2 was a little wiser, then bishop c2, then bishop b3. Don't know how to play this. The standard thing would be to go knight bd2, knight f1, knight g3, the so-called Spanish knight maneuver. But I feel like that would sort of justify his setup with his early g6, bishop g7. So I'll improvise a little bit, go bishop g5. Hoping that this bishop finds something useful to do here, which I'm not sure about at all. Queen e8 followed by knight h5 strikes me as a sensible plan. And once again, this is Jan. I should maybe stop talking about myself in the third person. I'm playing too crappily to earn all that arrogance. This is me taking baby steps and trying to understand where the pieces go in all these Ruy Lopez positions, because I'm not an e4 player at all. I've played one d4 or like one knight f3, one c4 pretty much all my life, so I never really got into these e4 positions, from the white side at least. With black I've played plenty of Ruy Lopez's. And he does go queen e8 intending knight h5. Maybe he's listening to the show and listening to my brilliant insight. Oh boy. Could of course take, but that's a little sad. It's a bishop after all. Nah. You put your knight here and enjoy it. So knight h5, I'll probably go knight f1, knight f4, then I don't know what to do, unfortunately. Maybe bishop g3, but it does feel like black has handled the opening phase quite successfully. Not so clear where my pieces go, and he's already going for the kill. He wants to go f5. You want an immediate crisis, Mr. Hope Chess? Then let's do this. Good news for me. Nah, that's another lie. I was gonna say is I become stronger when the position opens up. It's not really the case. I become more vulnerable to tricks. We'll see what happens. Knight e3 seems logical. I can meet f5 by either takes and then knight d5 or the immediate knight d5. I have not made up my mind. Which one? I think I'll take. Very tense situation. Rook c8 is, I guess, what he should play. Because the queen has to keep contact with this knight on h5. But Hope Chess, much more aggressive than me, goes e4. Can you do that? Let's see. I of course take and then think the usual. Knight a8, ef, queen f, rook a8. There should be something. Bishop d5, bishop e6. Feels like there should be something. We'll see. This feels right. After knight f4, I still have bishop g3. After rook a8, okay, his structure remains intact, but at least I material up. So ef3 is the consistent move, queen f3, and now recapture. When materially it's roughly equal, I have a rook and one pawn for 2 pieces, so I'm actually slightly behind on the material count, but I had the feeling his pieces would be uncoordinated enough that something good would happen here for me. Now all I have to do is find that something good. Bishop d5, rook c8, a4 would be a very reasonable way to continue, but not instantly doing damage. Bishop e6, bishop takes, queen c6. Feels weird. Nah, that can't be right. Alright, no time. I'll just make a move. The usual. I try to calculate. That's a lot of these, what a lot of these intuition players do. It's not like you don't try, but you try very hard to calculate some lines and you think, can't calculate anything. Let's just make a move and see what happens. Happens a lot in tournament games too, a lot more than you would think it does. And b4, probably a good choice, trying to keep the position as closed as possible, not allowing my rook to activate instantly. Now bishop d5, yeah, was once again superficial. Not clear at all. Hope chess, putting up very tough fight here. Not that I'm not struggling in every game, or I'm struggling with the quadruple negation, which I'm trying to master. But still, people be playing good. Once again, I thought I expertly provoked f4, so I have the option of bishop e4. Not quite sure that verdict will prove correct. Bishop d4, what's going on? Big tactical champion, Mr. Hope Chess. Does this work? Maybe it works. Who knows? Way too complicated for me, and we're low on time, so I'll just make moves. Take as many pieces as I can possibly get. Hope to have the better end. Better end on my side? I used to take pride in my English prowess, but it's becoming sad. It's becoming worse and worse by the day. I'm feeling like, I'm getting more idiomatic, I'm getting more idiomatic, there we go. So I can take more risks in my English expressions. Then this is what happens. Stick to the basics, Jan. You're German. Try to hide your accent. Don't say anything complicated. Hope that Hope Chess resigns. Rook c6, queen d7 check was a problem. Therefore, Hope Chess does resign. Very tough fight. No idea what happened here. Let us play somebody else. You know what? I'll scroll all the way to the bottom of my list and play whoever's there. I normally don't do that, so don't try it. Don't try it? I don't care. What do you try or not try? I'm getting so defensive about everything, about all the complaints I've been getting. About, why don't you announce your shows earlier? Where's your video series? How do you choose your opponents? Why do you play people that play d4, e5, thus making a mockery of chess? All these things. Anyway, I of course have a great deal of respect for d4, e5, the England Gambit as noobs call it, or the Hard Rock Gambit as I call it. It's a fantastic opening, and I might be friends with arguably the biggest expert in the world on d4, e5, none other than Szachunski himself, so nothing in the d4, e5 universe can surprise me, and I know that most d4, e5 experts, and I only know one, are most upset if you instantly return that pawn. Therefore, that's what I've been doing in this game. I don't want that to be that pawn up for even a second. Looks like, is this some sick d4, e5 theory? Butterfly is blitzing out his moves. While I'm complaining and praising my d4, e5 prowess, I'm once again behind on the clock. it's a fantastic opening. Shachonsky, I think we all learned something today. Bishop g4, e4, queen e7 is the way to handle this opening. I can't get myself to say properly, but kudos to Butterfly. Who did this Butterfly song? Showing my age here. I'm a butterfly. Crazy Town or some one-hit wonder? Let's look it up. I think it's Crazy Town. Crazy Town Butterfly. Is it I'm a Butterfly or You're My Butterfly? Yeah, Crazy Town. Told you. So far I'm slightly worse after 1 d4 e5. Nothing to complain about. I feel like... I don't know, do I do a lot of complaining about my mojo in these shows? I think that's probably 90% of what I'm doing. But yeah, I once again have this feeling that my chess mojo has temporarily disappeared. And the problem is, with my advanced age, you never know if it's going to come back or if it's just going to stay gone. And that's one of the many existential crises I'm facing. It's not the primary one I'm more worried about, yeah. Money and the usual stuff, but like my chess strength completely disappearing is another of my anxieties. Probably not English. Another of my deeply rooted fears. And there's not a lot to do about it. Like, we all get older, brains get slower. Mine was never all that fast to begin with. So I'm aware it's gonna happen, but it still scares me. And the sad truth is, it might already have happened. No one told me. But normally we don't realize these things. We just get older and think we're still the same. Just the rest of the world does not think so. And once again, this is not coming from a place of great arrogance, as most of my other statements. I never thought I was a great player, but for me, it's very upsetting if I can't keep the level I once used to have. That doesn't have to be world champion level, but if you used to be, let's say, a 2600 player, like in my case, then it's no fun to become a 2500 player. Even though a lot of people tell me, what are you complaining about? You're still a good player, and so on and so forth. Doesn't make me any happier. So, what am I saying? Nothing, just that, yeah, I can't accept the circle of life, I believe, is the core statement I'm making. And Butterfly decides not to roll over and collapse, as I was hoping he would after this Queen e3. Queen a7 double attack, but he calmly plays... now he collapses. That is very welcome, Butterfly. I need your blunders to win some games, because else... you see what happens. It doesn't make any of us happy. Well, probably makes the opponents that beat me, or at least draw me, happy. And this is a little insulting, Butterfly. I don't really mind, but it's a little insulting. I am a rook and some things up. I have to speed up a little bit. Not too much, though. Generally, I do enjoy these situations, but here we have all these exciting and excited viewers hoping for a chance to get a game. Which probably means I should checkmate him instead of getting 8 queens. But when do we get the chance to get 8 queens? Okay, let's give some checks. The problem is with all these queens, every check is normally mate. Even if you don't want to give mate, you give a random check and it's mate. Anyway, thanks for the game, Butterfly. Let's play somebody else. Chalenges. The correct pronunciation. I feel like I should play a low-rated player. We've had a lot of chess monsters on today's show. Let's give Mr. Rakumo a chance. Rakumo from Spain will feel the pain. I am a sick lyricist. Rakumo, Ramon Cuevas. My Spanish pronunciation, it's actually not too bad except for the R's, but I can't say the Spanish R or double R at all. Therefore, it's a little embarrassing for me to speak Spanish. We are facing the Chigorine. C4, G6. Nah, you can't do that, Rakumo. This is not a bad opening. You can play bishop G4 or even E5 if you're in an adventurous mood. But after G6, I promise I'm going to take here, lure your queen into the wild after queen takes D5. And then you're going to lose a lot of time. I'm going to hit your queen. It has to go somewhere. Then I'll play D5. Hitting this knight has to go somewhere. Then I might hit something else depending on where you go. And you're already in real big trouble because one goal of the opening phase is to fight for the center and to develop your pieces. And here you can see, pieces aren't very far out. Center is firmly in my hands, so things haven't gone well. Queen d4 is trying to grab that rook, but more importantly, after knight f6, I want to go e4 and then e5, gaining more time while I'm occupying the center with my army of pawns. You're all just pawns in my game of checkers. Do they have checkers and pawns? Pawns and checkers? I don't know. Naxo Chess says, Jan, tell something in Spanish. Shouldn't we say something in Spanish? And you know how it is. It's normally, even if somebody speaks a language, if you tell them, oh, say something in Spanish, say something in that language, that's not the way to get them to speak. So, not gonna happen. But yeah, my Spanish is decent. It's just the R's that I'm struggling with. What else is going on? M. Hansen. That's the guy who shows up in any show and asking when the video series is coming out. Maybe never. I think I'll just never do another video series, so I don't have to be all defensive about when stuff is coming out. Another problem I have is I'm very bad at planning. Like, I'm good at planning to take this rook, but that's why I'm more suited to doing live shows, because I have no idea when I'll get around to doing stuff. Get distracted very easily. I'm basically a horrible, horrible employee. Therefore, no idea, but it's on my mind. It's causing me sleepless nights. Other things causing me sleepless nights too, but mainly the video series, but no hints whatsoever. So, now that that speech is out of the way, like in every show, let's hope Rakumo gives in, because yeah, Rakumo, of course, new to chess, so I shouldn't go so hard on him. E4, knight h5. Drop that rook, but it was a tough position already. Strategically, the one thing to remember is you want to fight for the center. And there, yeah, after g6, cd5 was already very tough. The theoretical quote-unquote line is something like bishop g4, cd, then bishop f3, which leads to a slightly different situation. But this g6, allowing me to take here and bring the queen out and having it hit is bad news normally. Who? I think we had agreed not to use whom anymore. Who shall I play in our next game of chess? I think I'll stay with the, what's a non-insulting term? The new to chess premium members, whom I actually appreciate more than you guys who think, I'm a big advanced 2200 player. For you 2200 players, it's a no-brainer to hang out on the site and get all the material. But it's great for me to see that there's also guys that are newer to chess that are interested in the site and that become premium members. That is the goal. It's not my area of expertise. Like my video series, which I never do. In general, my material, I have a feeling, is more directed at stronger players normally. Even though Naxo Chess, clearly, I don't know who's advocating this nonsense, was Simon Williams, right? I've seen this somewhere, or someone showed it to me. I believe, yeah, this is one of these Simon Williams lines that don't make a lot of sense, but of course are a fun surprise value. That's not a dig at Simon Williams at all. I think he's well aware of the qualities of these lines. But Naxo Chess clearly interested in, how do we call this? Chess theory or surprising opening ideas? I'm not sure. Anyway, bishop c4 doesn't strike me as very logical because, well, it allows d5. And here, yeah, I couldn't do many a thing. I'm sure I'm gonna get some angry letters. Oh, I'm super defensive today. Later about, yeah, but if white had played that instead of that or something, this line is excellent. You don't know what you're talking about, which technically is true. But I still have a very hard time believing that 2 bishop c4 can be a sensible move. Having said all that, what do? Let's take the bishop. If in doubt, take the bishop. Another time-honored tradition. We'll get some pieces out. Actually, I might be slightly worse. I might just have blundered my a7 pawn. Oh boy. But b6 covers it, and I will argue it's all part of a long-term plan to go b6, bishop b7, c5. Having my 2 bishops shine. Come on, take it. I shall take your rook, and everybody wins. Well, I win more than you. But yeah, I do win more than you. And Naxo Chess, after realizing what he's done, of course does resign on the spot. Sorry about that. About the opening, yeah, I'm not sure. For starters, of course, I'm not technically forced to take here, but I'm greedy. I will study it. Probably I won't. Let's play somebody else. How about Old But Gold 310? What's a 310? Normally my theory is that these numbers are like dates of birth. And if that's correct, then happy birthday! 10 days ago you had your birthday on October 3rd, where you turned... Born in 1922... I'm bad at math. 96? No, 1922 is his rating, not his year of birth. So we don't know Old But Gold's age from Israel. But we shall find out. Let's see, it tells me opponent disconnected, but he's back. e4, e5. Finally, we're playing proper chess in this game. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. I shall get this knight out. Oh, aggressive. I wish I knew anything about the Trexler gambit, bishop c5, but I don't. Looks terrible. Therefore, I shall play d5. ed, knight a5. This is the main line. Bishop b5, c6, dc, bc, and Old But Gold clearly has studied this deeply. I actually know this stuff too. I thought that instead of bishop takes c6, bishop d3 was more critical. In this position, I'm aware why it's 2 pawns up, which is not ideal, but I did believe, at least, that black has fair compensation here, which I'm sure I won't be able to prove over the board in a real game of chess, but I did think so when I studied this. Now, let me figure out how. Maybe jump here? Not so sure about that jump already. Rook c8, bishop c6 might have been a more human and humane way to play. My point with knight g4 is that if he goes knight e4, I want to go f5, e4, grab some space. But not sure what happens after, for example, h3, maybe knight f2. Or even knight h3. Or, yeah, he goes h3. He is gold, that dude. Knight f2, can I do? Question mark. Who knows. Knight h7, let's keep this desperado theme going. Knight h7, knight h3, gh, king h7. Then count. Oop, I'm guessing that's not a very favorable position on camera. Apologies for the lack of professionalism. I have no idea what that means in today's show. Then again, it's show like number 48, so you guys all know what to expect. I should stop with all the apologizing. Why be so self-conscious after all these years? D3, am I still a pawn down? I have a feeling I'm still a pawn down. In spite of all my brilliancies, old by gold is still a pawn to the good. But I do have two bishops. I have more pawns on this king side of the board, which should count for something. Not sure for what, but for something it should count. Problem is now... Not sure what to do now. So, if in doubt, let's give a check. Nothing bad has ever happened after giving a check. And the serious thought was, I want my rooks to support my pawns marching up the board. Therefore, they want to play rook f8. And by playing queen b6 check, I can bring the other rook to bring the ruckus. Go rook a8, then f5, e4, and hopefully something good will happen one of these days. The point is, I am a pawn down technically, but these 4 pawns against 1 on the queen side don't do that much damage quickly, at least. I hope so. Well, my pawns after bishop c6 and either e4 or f4, maybe queen g6 first, blah blah blah, full compensation. That was a complete sentence. What are we talking about? We're talking Narcos? I haven't finished season 2. I got a little bored. Like these 2 DEA guys, they're in the middle of every single thing happening in Colombia. Really? I understand it's a storytelling device, but it still annoyed me. Come on. There's like 18,000 Colombian police dudes, army politicians chasing Pablo. But these 2 DEA guys with the big mustaches, they have to be in the middle of the action and everything. It did bother me. Also, we do know how the story ends, so how many more seasons can you drag this stuff out with a clear conscience? Probably really as many as you want. And what's going on in this game? I thought I was methodically improving my position, but I still haven't won. It's very unfair. This bishop is king of the hill though, targeting here. And I want to do something soon. That's pretty much the plan. Do something soon. Not sure why I didn't go rook f6. Maybe I wanted to leave the option to bring this bishop out on this diagonal. b4. Do I go queen g3? Yeah, why not? Why not? Creates a threat. Because in spite of all my talk about compensation, I don't like being pawns down, and I am willing to play for cheap tricks to regain them. Queen e3 would not have allowed my cheap trick, and therefore would have bothered me much more. Now, however, the end is near for old but gold. I could have gone bishop h4, but do not hurry. I never understood why we shouldn't hurry, but it's one of the time-honored wisdoms of chess. Sometimes you gotta hurry though. That's why chess is so tough. They tell you not to hurry, but then a lot of the time you have to hurry. These rules, they are often contradicting each other. Yeah, the going gets tough for old but gold 310. Excellent game by yours truly. You know I don't like to brag, but you gotta call a spade a spade. Oh man, if people start thinking I'm serious, and I am serious a lot of the time, I'll get into real trouble. I will get into trouble. Allez! Why didn't I still... Why didn't I still win? Why have I still not decided this game in my favor? Probably because of a lack of ability and focus. Often it's the combination. can lack either ability or focus, but if you lack both, you're in real trouble. It's like saying you can play slowly or badly, but both problems. Pre-move, very risky pre-move, but Old But Gold oversteps the time limit. Therefore, this game ends in my favor. Thanks for the game, Old But Gold. What about a holy stone? Technically just holy stone, not a holy stone, from Japan. And pardon my lack of education, but what is a holy stone? Can I Google those things, or are holy stones individual? Like A as rock, is that a holy stone? Holy stone. I spelled in one word, Holy Stone International. Holy stone by drones and quadcopters for sale. That's the first result when I Google holy stone. Whoa, maybe it's just a company. Holy stone quadcopter drone. Who knew? Play Z4, I'll play Caracan. Looks like it. Sorry, that did not lead to many fresh insights. Vomber is asking, how much elo does he had when Magnus was 9? Not sure, didn't Magnus start later than 9? Maybe he started with 9. I think he was a relatively late bloomer. Now maybe he started with 8. Not quite sure how much elo he had then. Normally when you start you don't have an elo, but you start playing and then your elo grows with your successes. Holy Stone is well versed in chess theory. Knight g5. Hoping for like h6, knight e6, fe, queen h5 checkmate. Knight df6, probably not the most critical reply, but it's playable. I believe the main line is knight gf6. Sometimes you want to go for the good old switcheroo though. I have to be a little careful now not to get pushed off the board within 2 moves. Because if I go knight f6, which would look natural, knight e5, some questions here. h6, knight f7, also some questions. Is it too late? Do I have to do another thing I despise? Bishop g4, knight f7, more questions. Oh boy. I am in trouble. Real big trouble. Someone please call 911. Tell them I just got shut down. I am delaying knight f6 so I can meet knight e5 with the powerful and aesthetically pleasing knight h6. But since he didn't do it, now I hope I can do this. And after knight e5, castle. Well, I'm still slightly worse, but my position has seen tougher moments. I kind of want to win this knight by going h6, which objectively this is not a good move. But you've seen me do dubious things for cheap trips. Like, when did I develop this stutter? Now promise, it doesn't even win the knight. He can go g4. That sounds Trumpish, my voice there. He can go g4. Oh boy. And after bishop, somewhere knight e4. So all this work trying to implement my cheap trick for nothing. This is bad. Nah. Okay, let's focus, because else we're gonna have a new crybaby situation after I lost this game because of my own stupidity. So, time to focus up. I lost around a tempi, going bishop f5 and back and so on. But that is not the end. Holy Stone seems back in business, starts playing well again. Well, I've played extremely passively and slowly. I believe in an earlier video I might have mentioned, and by in an earlier video I mean in this video like 4 minutes ago, I might have mentioned that it's normally not a good idea to play both slowly and badly. But that is pretty much the approach I have taken to this game. But now I'm activating all my pre-move prowess. Therefore, things will be very different within seconds. One thing that should be allowed is to pre-move multiple things. Like I want to be able to pre-move EF5 like I have, but I also want to be able to pre-move Rook A8 in case he doesn't go F5. But I can only pre-move one thing. It's very unfair. Check! Holy Stone, by the way, is not a 1500 player. Why are you so strong, Holy Stone? Stop crushing me. Probably he has not played so much on this side yet, therefore his rating is still close to the 1500 that you begin with, but he's obviously way stronger than that. And I don't know what accent I'm trying to do. It does not make any sense to myself. King F7, completely ridiculous move. But King G2, that makes my task a lot simpler. And Holy Stone resigns after an excellent game, played very well, was better for most of it until the time scramble began. Challenges. Let's play Lizard from Uganda. Is that true? That'd be awesome. We have users in Uganda. I don't dare making any Uganda be kidding me jokes now. I just can't do it. Maybe Lizard is not around. Are you there, Lizard? If you're not there, we cannot play. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Abort. Sorry, Lizard. Where did I get this Uganda be kidding me from? It's a Chelsea Handler special or something? I think I've read it somewhere. Let's play our old friend, Ambitious Pawn. Talk's a very good game, but is he gonna be able to meet the boredom that is one knight f3? How can I dial this up the most? I'll play 2c4. Fighting for the center. The problem with 2c4 is that d4 gains a lot of space. I'm normally not a fan. If d4 weren't there, then this would be an excellent move order device to get a lot of people out of their typical repertoire. However, now by the magic of transpositions, we have reached one of the biggest starting positions in the game of chess, the very classical Queen's Gambit declined, Bishop e7, Bishop f4 is more popular than Bishop g5 these days. Of course, these things can change, probably will change. Castles e3 is the normal line. Ambitious Pawn says, sorry about the hair jokes, but I never read what he's saying, so I must have missed those. I'm sure it wasn't my hair, because my hair does look awesome. e3, c5, big theoretician, Mr. Pawn. I will play cd5, which recently was played by none other than Anish Giri against Hikaru Nakamura, and he got a very good position after ed5, which I consider to be a mistake. Then you do something like this, rook c1, win a lot of time, and black has the IQP. Therefore, I think knight d5 is a bad move. Might look counterintuitive, because am I allowed to do this? Nah, not during the game. Because you're exchanging pieces, but knight d5 forces me to lose some more time. After the exchange of knights, there's some bishop b4 check and whatnot. It's better. Now, white is just a little better. Knight h5. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can he do this? And is it good? I could just take on d5. I can't really see anything wrong with it. But as a matter of principle, I want to keep this bishop. I don't know what principle that is. Probably I want to keep my bishop because he wanted to take it principle. Objectively, queen d5 or knight d5 were probably stronger. Facepalm Chess is saying you're currently watching Bloodsport 2. Enjoy the show. I heard there's an all-female Bloodsport coming out. No pun intended, that's a true thing. They changed the title, however. Did they make Bloodsport 2? I think there were a couple Bloodsports, but only the first one had Van Damme. But I heard they were planning a new iteration featuring only ladies. Bishop back to e7. How to improve the position? Knight d4 would be logical. Knight b5, knight d4. Queen b3, queen a4. So many options. I don't know. Maybe this move, intending to go rook ft1. It invites knight a5. But since I've gained quite a bit of time with him moving his pieces back and forth, I feel like I should be more ambitious than just going knight d4 and play queen b3, rook ft1. Take it from there. Reading the chat, that's when I stare into the middle of nowhere and have this blank, is bland a word? Bland expression on my face. That probably I shouldn't. Another problem I've struggled with, which you guys can probably see, I have the phenomenon for a week, which I believe we call puffy eye. I don't know what it is. It looks like my tears don't want to leave this, I don't know all these terms in my face, but my eye is messed up. That's what I'm trying to say. So if there is a doctor in the audience, because believe it or not, I am not a doctor. I should probably say these things more often. A lot of people have mistaken me for a medical doctor. Let me know what to do. And I understand I could Google these things, but who wants to Google creepy things about their own eyes? So I have this, and I also have this other problem. That, I don't know the English word. I don't think I have a word for it. I have way too much skin over here. I've whined about this before. And I feel like all these things, they are full of fluids that don't go away, causing me great distress. Not really. This game is causing me great distress because I've paid zero attention. And he's gotten to my bishop, which I said I don't want him to have that bishop. I have some compensation, like I'll get this pawn and so on. But how do you get that bishop? Well, I was talking about my eye. That is not a very nice thing to do. I said no pun intended when I said all-female Bloodsport. Google it instead of making your distasteful jokes. Because all my jokes are very tasteful. Oh boy. Give me that pawn, dear boy. Another thing that I want to change for 2017 is I want to start calling more people dear boy. I feel it's a good way to address people, and it's not done very much. So it's already on my list of things I want to better about myself for the next year. Hello, dear boy. Good game, dear boy. Thanks for writing me an email, dear boy. I believe we can all only win. I hope I will win this game because I'm really... Oh boy. Not oh boy. Because the dear boy ambitious pawn is really hanging in there. And some would say I've been slightly toying with him, but that would be a bald-faced lie. Because I'm not. I'm just not able to finish it just yet. Speaking of toying with, that's what Van Damme does in Bloodsport with Forrest Whitaker. Does anybody remember that scene when Forrest Whitaker, who is in that movie, believe it or not, is chasing him through, where are they? Beijing? Shanghai? I'm not sure. Hong Kong. They're in Hong Kong. Anyway, when Forrest Whitaker and the other cop are chasing him, he's straight up playing with that. He's waiting, waving, making fun of them. It's very playful, being prosecuted by the police for escaping from the army or whatever he's done. It's not very clear. Another thing that has never been 100% clear to me, because I've never Googled it, is the Frank Duke story. True story or hoax that he make up that he went to this top secret tournament and crushed everybody? I believe it's made up. Ambitious Pawn offers a draw, which I also think is a made up thing, and does resign after a very good game by Ambitious Pawn. Gotta give credit where credit is due. So thanks for that game. Now his forces are overloaded, therefore he resigns, but he played very, very well. Let us play. I gotta leave early because I have these work things, meetings and so on. But let's play one more game. I think I should say less, more dear boy. Today, the dear boy, David Howell, a proper good blitz player. I believe he's always among the leaders on this very site. King's Meat or whatever. Meat with a D, not with a T. Know what you pervert think. He's gonna play at 5. So if you want to play a proper strong chess player, used to be 2700 not long ago, fantastic blitz player. Our boy David Howell is in town, or at least I've been told. I haven't seen him yet. And he will crush you all. I will crush Spunkui. Is that the name? Spunkui? I don't know. Before I go to my meetingations. Nah, d4. d4 is the best move. Pawn is protected, occupies a bunch of central squares, can go to another central square. It's just a solid move. d5, c4, you try to undermine this outpost that he has there. He tries to keep his outpost, which is fair enough, but as a price, he had to incarcerate his own bishop. Now we grab more space in the center. This is already a debatable decision. You could argue for e3, covering this pawn. You could argue for knight f3, offering this pawn as a sacrifice. But e4, known as the other Marshall Gambit, is a very playable line. Knight f6, not the most common move here. Normally they play bishop b4 check, bishop d2, and queen takes d4 with very sharp play, in which I used to excel in the old days when I remembered what to do in all these lines. After knight f3, my plan is to go bishop d3 and then bishop g5 and then take his queen. Because after bishop d3 and then bishop g5, the queen would no longer have a square. Now that I've announced these intentions, I feel it's fair game if I make them happen. However, he could stop me from doing so by going, for example, h6. Also by going e5, unfortunately, because that, maybe accidentally, I don't know. I don't want to accuse Spunkui of almost blundering his queen. Does create squares for the queen on e6 and d6. Probably would have been wise to throw in a little bishop b4 check before going to e6, but he still managed to keep his queen alive. Now, I want to do bad things to you. That sounded wrong again, right? It's a very creepy vibe, this show today. I should also point out this is not my t-shirt. I'm not a Star Wars fan and I do not approve of, or I don't see the humor in all these Star Wars t-shirts. I really don't. But I am also a borderline homeless person, so if I can mooch off a t-shirt anywhere, I will do it, no matter what my cultural preferences. Cultural? Yeah, let's call it cultural. And give me that queen already, Spunkui. Sorry for mispronouncing, but I want your queen. Okay, not getting it. But this is a nasty little Czech. Czech Republic. King f8. Allez. This is a different version of Fool's Mate. Queen f7 is a threat. If g6, I will give a check. Spunkui's position is under great pressure. But of course, I went into this game a massive favorite. Therefore, I should not be too braggadocious. That's a good word. How do I win, though? I really struggle finishing games off, both in real life and in Banter Blitz. It's a nice position. I'm a pawn up. I have all these good pieces. But how to get the job done? Je ne sais pas. See? Spunkui is hanging around. Hanging around. I haven't seen that movie for a while. Sorry, my head is jumping from topic to topic even faster than normally is. Why does hanging around make me think of Rounders with Matt Damon and Ed Norton? Is that what Teddy KGB says? The John Malkovich character? Hanging around? I think that's how it entered my mind. But we don't know. I'm not sure we want to know too much about what enters my mind, how, because it's a scary place. Making it sound like I have all these complicated dark thoughts. Normally my thoughts are sleepy, hungry, must do show. That is the normal level. Gimme. He can go 95, which I've spotted, but I thought maybe he's not going to spot it. And that's what you get for underestimating your opponent. Never underestimate your opponent. No matter how much stronger you are on paper. It's not enough to be a good player. You also have to play well. Somebody said that. Doesn't really apply for me. Because I always play well. Of course. Rook f8. I was hoping I could at least trick him with some rook e8 check. No such luck. Is the material equal? After all these adventures, we have equal material. How did that happen? I'm still better because his pieces are a little clumsy, and I shall try to pronounce that by going b4, crippling the bishop on a6. Not that there was any need for that. But there is still work remaining. h3, just so I don't get checkmated. I want a luft on h2. And I want this game to be over, but I don't want to think about how to end this game. This is the conflict I'm currently dealing with. See, my plan was queen f6, then rook e7, but he stopped that. Stop stopping my plans, Spunkui. This is very frustrating. Good thing I played h3 though. Imagine I had forgotten. Then queen d1 check. Boom. Well, now I only blundered some material after f6, but that is probably I can live with. But queen d1 checkmate. Boom. That would be a real pickle. Goes f6. Spunkui, big champion of chess all of a sudden. Let's see what happens. Who needs rooks anyway? I'm kind of a rook down against an opponent rated 1155, which is not ideal. This was my big point, but king g7, queen e5, rook f6, it's not like this line is really going anywhere fast. Speaking of fast, time's running out. Gimme. Ale. I do take pleasure in this. I'm not sure why, but I do. Probably I still like chess, in spite of all my attempts to make you guys believe how cynical and burned out I am about it. I do enjoy not so much chess, but winning. It doesn't matter what game. Thanks, Spunkui, for making this a very tough game. Or a bit more than a very tough game. Being a rook up at some point in this last game. But the time is always a problem. That is the end of today's show. Of course, I've been whining most of the show already, so I'll keep our final segment, I'm sorry, very short. I am sorry for my lost dress sense. I used to wear shirt and ties, pocket square. Now look at me, I'm a mess. I'm not sorry for the hair. My hair is awesome. I am sorry for my puffy eye. I am sorry for all the insults I threw at you and all the insults I forgot about. I am sorry that I did not get to play Lizard from Uganda, because I'm sure I could have thought of more Uganda puns than Uganda, be kidding me. I am also sorry for doing this show at late notice, at a weird hour, because I am aware that in the US&A, this is not a good time to follow a Banter Blitz show. And as I learned from Donald Trump the other day, they do not have Grand Chess Masters in the US&A. Therefore, I consider it my duty to make these shows at US&A friendly times so you guys can learn something about the ancient Chinese art of chess. I am sorry that none of the viewers actually did learn anything productive. I'm sorry for not winning all the games. That's mainly note to self. I much prefer winning all the games. I'm sorry for not getting to play everybody. I'm not really sorry for anything. Let's stop this charade. Thank you guys for watching the show. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.